This story was This story was sent to me by Caressa on Instagram, and this has to be one of the most disturbing stories of child sexual abuse that you will hear ever. And look, it's at the hands of a woman. If Me Too actually was on their job, they would actually, would have taken it seriously, but they were too busy taking trips across the globe and whatnot on other people's dime. But anyway, this woman's name, this thing's name is Monika Jeanmarie or Jeanmarie DeMarrarrias. She's 18 years old. She looks older than 18 because of that makeup on her face makes her appear older. But anyway, she was just sentenced to 12 years in prison for the sexual abuse of 3 children. Now, I've read some of the details of what she would do to these kids and for the period of time she's done it. People were saying that they felt like the torture that she delivered to these kids should have gave her the death penalty. I read that in the comment sections of the post that I was tagged in on Instagram, and I saw it a couple of times. But let's go ahead and get into it. Monika DeMarrarrias, age 18. She's 18. Of Yankton, South Dakota, has been sentenced in Becker County District Court on a felony charge of first-degree criminal sexual conduct. In October, she was found guilty by a jury of sexually assaulting 3 children under the age of 8 multiple times from January 1st to August 5th. So you're talking about she was doing this since the beginning of the year to over halfway through the year being gone. She was doing this for going on a year. The charges were filed after a forensic interview with the oldest victim by the Red River Child Advocacy Center. The assaults occurred in a residence in Becker County, and the oldest victim says she was afraid to tell sooner because DeMarrarrias frightened her with a knife and threatened to kill her and her family if she told anyone, according to the juvenile court complaint. The oldest victim said she witnessed some of the assaults on the younger 2 victims. The victims were often tied up and gagged during the sexual assaults. Physical assaults included choking, beating, and holding the younger ones out of a high window by their legs as if planning to drop them. DeMarrarrias was charged under extended juvenile jurisdiction, and on November 5th, District Judge Gretchen Thomoni sentenced her under that jurisdiction to 144 months in prison, which equals out to 12 years. Execution of sentence stayed. Thomoni ordered her to get individual trauma therapy and counseling with Lutheran Social Services and follow all mental health recommendations. DeMarrarrias must complete the Massachusetts Youth Screening Instrument and attend any medication management appointments deemed appropriate. She must get a chemical dependency evaluation and follow the recommendations, abstain from alcohol and illegal drugs, and have no contact with the victims nor any unsupervised contact with children under the age of 16. She must complete juvenile. Sorry to step away right quick. But anyway, let me see where I picked off. It says she must complete juvenile sexual offender treatment and do 50 hours of community service work. She was placed on probation for an indeterminate amount of time and must remain in a secure juvenile facility and for interdeterminate amount of time. No sentence was pronounced on a second felony charge of first-degree criminal sexual conduct, and felony charges of second-degree assault and terrorist threats were dismissed. They should have kept those charges as well, but they probably had to get a plea deal where they was able to drop those additional charges and just keep the stronger charge attached to it. But yeah, this chick is insane. She is insane, but I noticed something here. I noticed something was missing that should have been here. I didn't want to jump the gun until I finished reading the article, and I finished reading it and I don't see it. I don't see anything in this article about her having to register as a sex offender. This is where the whole, it's crazy. A lot of women like to cry sexism. Well, here's where sexism can really come into play. I cannot remember the last story I did about a woman who sexually abused children end up on the sex offenders list. But whenever I read it about a guy, he always ends up on the sex offenders list. Always. It's almost like they make the sex offenders list basically male only. Granted, I'm sure it's male dominant, but it should definitely be some women that qualify to be on that list. She is definitely one of them. They drop the ball on that every time. I mean, it's good and all that they got all this other stuff attached to her, but they never attach sex offenders lists to women. I rarely see it. I cannot remember the last time I actually saw that with my own eyes or read it in an article. Have y'all noticed that? I got a question. Have y'all noticed that? But they be the same ones that cry out about sexism. Now, this story went way under the radar because when I pulled her name up, articles started to come up from October when she was actually found guilty of her crimes. But this one right here is them talking about her actual sentencing. So they tried to bury this story. Like, this woman was doing her dirt since the year came in, throughout the first portion of the pandemic and all the way into the summer. Before quarantine, during quarantine, and a little bit as we're trickling out of quarantine. And she's only 18. And it makes you wonder, when did she turn 18? She had to have turned 18 this year unless her birthday is at the tail end of this year. And she's been 18 and she's turning 19. But something tells me that she turned 18 this year and she was most likely doing this when she was 17 and she turned 18. Sick individuals in this world, y'all. Just sick individuals. Now, y'all know when I say whenever a guy does some kind of sexual assault to children, what my form of punishment would be. For her, let's see, the guy said drop. I said crush his nuts with a cinder block. For her, or for women who do this, put something down there that will, force them to not be able to procreate. I'm not going to say what it is or what it could be. I'll let your imagination wander free with that one. I think that would be perfect punishment. I bet you don't think twice before actually doing it. And the thing that got me was when they said she was hanging one of the kids or some of the kids out the window upside down by their legs as if she was going to drop them. And she was doing this for, 8 months? Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think about this story down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next one.